Washington, D.C. made for March 1st and 5th for the National NATO Conference. Traveling by plane.
I would like to amend that to add myself to it as well.
Okay.
That should be for all supervisors.
Okay.
When you approve a travel like that, typically the minutes will reflect it. It applies to all the supervisors.
Okay.
Well, I'm part of all, so.
There.
It has been moved and seconded. I forgot what I'm doing
We didn't get a second.
Second came on Greg.
Supervisor Gregg.
No, he made the motion.
He made the
Who made the
motion.
motion?
I made the motion. Who's on
He
first?
made the motion.
All right. I thought Graham made the motion. It was Graham's motion.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it, we're correct.
Oh, you want us to do it again?
Oh, no, sir.
You want to be the motion?
I'm good.
And Tony be the second?
I'm good either way.
Okay. We just want to make sure that we have your minutes.
Let's just get it done.
Yeah, all right.
Just get it done, yes, sir.
Now that we have a motion and a second, all in favor, you say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Any other?
No, I'm finished. Thank you.
All right. Under my name, there are several items. I'm going to take them out of order, if you don't mind. One, there's a presentation by Capital Area Bar Association, and I'm not sure if they're here. Okay, so we come to the, okay, yes, come to the floor.
Mr. Recorder, Your Honors, I'm Collins Warner. I'm president of the Capital Area Bar Association this year.
And I'm Ben Piazza. I'm the chairman of our Law Library Committee. And the Law Library Committee is established under a statute which authorizes the Board of Supervisors to put a fee add-on to all of the cases filed in county, circuit, and chancery court in Hinds County. That's been on for many, many years. The Law Library Committee makes recommendations to our Board of the Bar, who makes recommendations to you as to the disposition of the library funds. The library fund itself is a special fund which can only be used for purposes related to the library. What we have done for many years is the recommendation has been that the county should contract with the state library and with the Jackson Hinds Library to, in essence, have branches of the Hinds County Law Library in their facilities at the Eudora Welty and at the State Library. In addition, we have provided with workstations in the courthouses. We have one here in the third floor. We have one in the circuit courthouse. And then we have libraries themselves with books in the Raymond Courthouse and various purchases. We're going away from books. As you know, most people now are using computers. But we still have some treatises like the Encyclopedia of Mississippi Law, Mississippi Digest, things like that. What we are recommending today is that we renew or amend and continue the contract with the state library in the amount of $30,000 per year for 3 years, and that we amend and extend the contract with the Jackson Hinds Library in the amount of $30,000 for 3 years. We also are recommending, for many years the county has had a part-time law librarian by the name of Barbara Neal. I think she's been doing it for over 25 years. We have a contract that we're recommending for her, which is for $5,100 for the year. So I think that's $480 a month, something like that. It's in the what we presented. We also deal or get requests from the judges in both circuit and chancery court. And y'all may recall that in the past, y'all have authorized the purchase of the Elmo systems for the circuit court. Those are the systems where you're able to, either by computer or by laying it on a screen, you set up a video presentation for evidence. The Mississippi Attorney General's office several years ago opined that we could use the funds of the library for those purposes, and we've done that. In this case, we have a request from the Chancery judges, specifically Judge Owens. As y'all are aware, the attorneys and litigants are not allowed to have cell phones on the third floor. There's a need for being able to communicate with the judges and the attorneys and their clients, and the Judge Owens has requested that we install a conference phone setup up there. It's approximately $500 some odd dollars. It's in our recommendation. All of these recommendations are basically extensions of previous usages that you've authorized. The fund itself has, as I understand it, approximately $187,000 in it today. The recommendations that we have made today would roughly match what the annual intake into that fund is. It basically varies from the filings that are made month to month, but it runs around $5,500 to $6,000 a month. And the recommendations we're making today would be roughly about that amount. Can I answer any questions about it?
Supervisor Graham?
Thank you very much. Number one, I'm a proponent of the Elmo. I've seen it work, and I think that it's very good. But I'm also a proponent of what our board attorney tells us, and that is if we sign anything or if we look at anything, when it deals with the contract, they need to look at it first. Have this contract been submitted to the board attorney's office because of the nature of the contract?
Yes, sir, Mr. Graham. It has. He's reviewed it. I don't know if he's here or not. Yes, he's here.
You reviewed all the...
There's some minor tweaking that he would like us to do, and we're going to do that, but there's nothing substantial.
I know there are a lot of uses for the law library, so all of the funds will come out of the law library fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how much would it be total?
It's roughly close to $70,000. It's $30,000 to the two branches of the state library and the Medora Wealthy, $5,000 roughly to the law librarian, and then it's $500 roughly for the system upstairs. There's probably approximately another $5,000 to $6,000 that pays for, you have to update the books.
Right.
And the law librarian does that. So it's roughly about $70,000 that we're
I agree
asking.
with this, and I'm going to support it, but I just want to make sure. Peter, do we have a copy of this, or did we get a copy of this in our packet?
I'm not sure whether the board was provided a copy. I did receive a copy on Friday. Talked with Mr. Piazza on Friday, and also spoke with him and Mr. Warner this morning. I've looked at the contracts. There are some minor revisions that I've suggested. They graciously agreed that those revisions they can make, and everything will then comply with law, as well as the fact that we will only spend the funds that are designated for the library and not any other general fund of the county.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
The funds that are going to the state and the county library, are we renewing, or these are additional funds, or these? Because I'm not aware of.
We've had a contract in the past with the statute which authorizes the law library fund, authorizes the county to fund it, specifically provides for contracting with the local library to, again, expand the law library system for the county. About 8 or 10 years ago, the legislation was amended to also allow contracting with the state library. The Supreme Court saw that there was availability of funds and wanted that to be done also.
Any other questions? Supervisor Stokes?
Thank you. In terms of the law library, I think the quality is somewhat poor. How do we make sure that, and I know it's not going to compare to the law library at Mississippi College, what do we do? If we got these funds, how do we improve the quality?
Well, one thing we do, Supervisor, I don't have a copy of it with me here today, we prepare a brochure that the county pays for that lists the availability of legal resources in the county. We keep copies of that at the libraries. We keep copies at the circuit clerks and the chancery clerks' desk upstairs, so that people who come into the court and don't have an attorney or trying to find out how to find about legal resources can be directed to either Eudora Welty, which has 2 workstations with LexisNexis Legal Research, or to the State Library, which has Westlaw capabilities and is available to the public. The lawyers primarily are the ones that will be using the workstations here upstairs and in the circuit courthouse. One of the things we're trying to do is to better advertise the resources so that more people will be aware of them and utilizing them.
In terms of all the different things you presented today, we're not expected to vote on anything today. I guess I'm asking that because we haven't received anything. We haven't had anything to look at. I know legal said they got some on Friday, but there's no way you can expect someone to vote on something if you don't have anything that you can inspect, read, and know what you're voting on. That's just not what I perceive as being progressive. So, Mr. President, we're not expected to vote on anything today.
I will ask for some, it's under my name, but I'll explain that in a few seconds. But I'll yield to our attorney as to what his recommendations are on that. Supervisor Calhoun.
Yes, sir. I was prepared to make a motion, I guess, because I'm quite familiar with the contractual agreement between Hinds County and the Capital Area Bar Association, and also familiar with, well, how the fund, where the funds are coming from, and if you would explain how the funds are assessed and how they are channeled through the accounting department of Hinds County. But I was prepared to make a motion, but if the board decides not to move forward, then we will delay taking action.
Yes, ma'am. My understanding is that there's a $2 added into the total when someone files a lawsuit in Hinds County in circuit court or chancery court or county court. I do not believe it has anything to do with criminal filings, and I don't believe it includes justice court. Those sums are gathered or paid over into the county into a separate fund from its general fund. That fund is a restricted fund which can only be utilized, as I said, for law library purposes. The Attorney General's opinion gives us pretty good flexibility. We were able to purchase the Elmos. The county was able to purchase the Elmos out of the library fund, thus avoiding having to pay general fund monies for that purpose. As far as the contracts themselves, what we would be requesting that the contracts would be approved subject to the board attorneys tweaking them. There were some minor changes that he wanted us to make, which we had no problems with at all.
And the assessment is actually placed on the attorney.
Well, it's the person filing the lawsuit, which, you know, some attorneys are paying, some of the clients are paying, the litigants, it varies.
Attorney Taylor, I received this information via my wife, who works with the attorneys, that they're wanting to come before the board. So I basically put it on the agenda because of this particular meeting. I do not have it. I know all of the details, but they did advise me that you were aware of it. So I will yield it to you. Do we need to wait, or can we move forward with it today? In your opinion?
The method legally sufficient to proceed. So unfortunately, Mr. President, I got to defer back to the board as a decision as to whether the board is comfortable to proceed today, or once it's brought back at its meeting in 2 weeks, so they can look at the information themselves. But legally, it's sufficient.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. President, this is something I wouldn't mind voting in favor of. But, Mr. President, it's routine. I understand they sent it to me. I understand why that you have it. But remember, this body needs things to have something in front of them to read. You know, it might be the best thing in the world since sliced bread, but not to have any information, it set the wrong precedence. And, you know, if we're going to vote on something, and someone asks us what you think about this, we need to be able to say we read it or had a chance to read. So I hope we'll hold it, Mr. President, but if we move forward, I just vote no.
Is there any problem that would create for us to put it on the next agenda to vote forward?
No, sir, I don't believe so. I mean, we wanted to begin with, you know, the old contract expired at the end of the year, so the new one starts in January, but I don't think that'll be a problem.
In fairness to the supervisor over here. Supervisor Graham?
Mr. President, I'm in agreement with Supervisor Stokes. I'm not opposed to this issue. I'm going to vote for it, but I'd like to have something in front of me. I'm not going to really vote for anything that I've not seen, or I don't have anything tangible to look at. So thank you very much for your presentation, but I just want to have an opportunity to look at something.
And it is, appears that you have a full board support. We just want to see what we're voting on.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and the board, and we'll get with Peter and make the minor tweaks and have copies of that provided to all of y'all prior to the next meeting.
And I will put it on the next agenda just because I think it's the right thing to do it.
Thank you very
Instead of
much.
my wife too.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. And I've got a feeling she's watching this presentation too.
Oh, yeah. They're always watching.
The next item that I have on the agenda is a resolution that we will present to the board as well as we're preparing it, but basically a letter supporting the town of Edwards in an event that they have coming up in March in reference to a Andrew Sugarman Daniels, an African-American gentleman who